the annual family and employee summer picnic. Of all the events that we do here at the Geiger Company, it is by far my all-time favorite. It's a way that I can thank all of you for what you have done, and also thank your families for the sacrifices that you have all made. Several times your mother or father has to come in early or work a special event or holiday weekend or Christmas time, put in extra hours. So for all of you children of employees aged 18 and under, I inspire and challenge you that if you can document any time or function that your parent has done a superior job, if you will let me know in writing, I will give to you an equal amount of Chiefs home tickets for this coming season. I really appreciate all that you have done for us. I also want to thank Dave Schmidt for being today's organizer in the company picnic. I think the food was fabulous. I particularly liked the lobsters and clams that he had flown in from my home state of Maine. And I noticed that the donkey rides have been a hit, as well as the incredible face painting, and the ice cream buffet was just out of this world. I challenge you, Mr. Schmidt, if you will, let's see, what could you do? If you will dance with 8 women once the disc jockey begins, I will give you and your family 8 tickets to Worlds of Fun. I appreciate that very, very much. As many of you know, the company was founded by my great-grandfather, who was a sapient soul, and he actually started it by whittling. Even though we manufacture and distribute an array of toys, it was whittling, such as these little pictures. One of my favorites is this socket with a ball inside, a cufflink, a crochet hook, and perhaps my favorite, a peach pit, which he whittled into a basket. It is our tradition that we acknowledge 3 employees every year who have done an outstanding job. I would first like to ask Melissa Brill to please come forward. As many of you know, Melissa started at the Geiger Company as a summer job in high school. She was, without question, the best forklift operator we ever had in the warehouse. My father spotted her potential immediately and said to me, she is a keeper. For those of you who were with us when we had the plant back on 9th Street, we nicknamed her Julia, because at that point we were still manufacturing our own storage bins, and she was an outstanding and exemplary welder. We nicknamed her Julia because that was at the time when Julia Child was wielding her torch, browning the tops of lemon meringue pies. But this Julia could beat the other one by miles. She has been an outstanding employee. We don't know what we would do without her, and I'm pleased to present her with a Geiger Spirit Award. During the depths of the Great Recession, during the last few fiscal years, the industry market went down 42% for toys and sporting goods. When families have a choice of putting either food or shelter or paying for toys, the answer is obvious. Obviously, they're going to provide a home and food for their families. Our drop was only 23%, and that was because of the outstanding efforts of our Chief Financial Officer, Fred Washington. Would you please come forward? In the depths of the Great Recession, I wanted to replace my 2010 BMW. But Fred took me aside and said, Bill, I hate to tell you, but the cash flow just isn't there. I was a little disappointed, not in Fred, but that I couldn't have my new toy, but I later crunched some numbers with him and he was absolutely correct. I want you to know that during that time, we were one of the very few companies in our industry that did not lay off one single person. I wanted our entire family to know that, and I think we should acknowledge Fred Washington for that great Nope, I'm not done. Fred, if you can match those numbers that you have with our 23% profit point last year, and if you can continue to reduce expenses but not quality, I will give to you and your guest a 4-day weekend with all expenses paid, food, transportation, lodging, at Pomme de Terre at the Lake of the Ozarks. You have been that outstanding. So on that, I would like to present you with this year's Geiger Award. It was always my father's strong point that if we hired outstanding people in summer positions, we could grow an excellent company. Many of you know that Caleb Loya also started in the summertime several years ago. And by the way, I want to mention that when Lisa accomplished her many good points, I neglected to tell you that this year she will be going also to Chicago for a 4-day weekend with all expenses paid. Caleb was an excellent worker, and I'd like to ask him to come forward. Caleb has now been with the company several years, and I'm not telling anything out of school, but he laughs when he tells the story that when he first started here, he was in the stitching department, and now is head of our stitchery department. That is the unit where we process and sew many items, including soccer balls to gym bags to whatever. During the first few months that Caleb was with us, he didn't know the difference between a commercial sewing machine or a dishwasher. Poor Caleb forgot to press the correct button. And on that shift, we had to completely destroy an entire pallet of soccer balls. He's come a long way since then, because about 2 months later, he was sewing gym bags or duffel bags. And poor Caleb put the straps on the bottom. Again, those had to go to the dumpster. My father hinted that perhaps Mr. Loya should not continue to be with the company. And I said, no, there's something inside that. He has the desire, the will, and the capability, and I'm going to keep him. Today, look at what he has accomplished in our stitchery department. For 2 consecutive years, we have received the industry's Stitchery Department Award. Because of your outstanding efforts, this year, you and your guest are going to be our guest to go to St. Louis for the annual Hot Air Balloon Festival. It's always held in April. It will be the 3rd weekend, April 2014. My wife Meredith and I would love to go with you, but I'm going to be in Boston running in my first Boston Marathon. Anyway, on behalf of the entire company, I want to present to you a Geiger Spirit.
Thank you.
My wife and I take your contributions very, very seriously. In fact, it is my pleasure to announce to all of you that we have created a Geiger Family Scholarship Fund that will underwrite scholarships for any student and family member who is approved by the scholarship committee. I encourage all of you to get additional information on Monday morning. We've prepared pamphlets and applications for you. I'm also proud to say and I hope my great-grandfather would be proud. We've established this endowment of $8 million, and we hope to grow it even more. On behalf of all of us, thank you again, and let's get back with Disco Dave and have some fun. Thank you very much.